This is arrays part 2. Let's try to draw some conclusions what we have discussed the last session. At the time of creating an array, it is mandatory to provide the size of the array. Else we will get compilation error. So for example, int a is equal to new int of 3. This is a valid array creation. For example, if you say int a new int of nothing, no size, then this is an invalid way of creating an array. Let's go to the next conclusion. Next note, we can create an array with size 0. There is no issue or error because 0 is an integer. So let's take some example here. Int a is equal to new int of 0. Try to compile and then execute. So there is no error. So size 0 an arrays is allowed. So similarly, let's take another note. What if I say maybe -8? Is it allowed? Let's try to compile. It's successfully compiled, but execute. Let's see if it gets executed. It says negative array size exception -8. So we cannot declare negative size array. So we cannot create an array with negative size. If we are creating, we won't get any compilation error, but during execution, we will get runtime error saying negative array size exception. Continue to the next note. We only allowed data types for size of an array are byte, short, int, and char. You cannot use long or double or any other data type because it's not effective because the long size is too large and the arrays will not be created with that base size. Let's move on to another example. Say, for example, int a, int, and let's say we will take character a. So is it allowed? Let's try to compile and execute. You don't see any issues. And character a, the integer ASCII value is 97, so the size will be 97. And let's say, for example, if I declare the size as 3.4f, which is floating point, is it allowed? It's not allowed. Let's compile. It says possible lossy conversion of float to int. So we cannot take float as the size of an array. Only allowed data types are int, byte, short, and char. Now let's take a look at two-dimensional arrays. In Java, 2D arrays are not created using matrix style. Let's take a look. For example, I have an array, say 3 by 3. Then what is the matrix style of arrays? For 3 by 3, it will look like this. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. But in Java, arrays will not be created in this style. So let's say, for example, I have an array of size 3, which is 0, 1, 2. Then this will again have another array of size 0, 1, 2. And this will have another array of size 0, 1, 2. Again, this will have an array of size 3 with positions 0, 1, 2. So this is the style which is used in Java for arrays. And this matrix style is used in C language. And this is also called as array of arrays. So it follows array of array style. Let's take an example. Int student array A is equal to new int O size 3 by 3. Now let's look at array initialization. Once if an array got created, we should provide initial values. Otherwise, JVM will assign default values. So what are the default values? For integers, it is 0. For double, it is 0.0. For characters, it is an empty character. For Boolean, the default value is false. And for objects, the default value is null. Let's take an example to understand how the default values gets assigned. Let's import java.util package. And for example, say let's create an array int a with size 5, then double b with size 5 again, and then char c with size 5 char, then Boolean d with size, say for example 3, and let's create a student e is equal to new student with size 6. Declare a class student. And then let's try to print system out println arrays to string of a. Let's try to compile and then execute. So we did not assign any values to the array A, so it has taken default values of integer type. Let's do same thing for B, C, D, E. Compile and execute. So we have A all zeros, B all double 0.0 defaults, character, empty characters, Boolean false, and object all null students. Let's take another example. So int a equal to new int of 5. Then let's try to assign a of 2 as, say, for example, 1, 1, 1. Then assign a of 4 as 2, 2, 2. And we do not assign remaining values. So let's try to print how the array would look like. Compile, then execute. So it has taken default values for the remaining ones except the ones which we have defined. Let's say we have an array of size 4 and let's assign A0 with 10, A1 with 20, A2 with 30, A4, A3 with 40. And let's add another additional element, A4 with, and try to compile and execute. If you see here, we see array index out of bounds exception. Index is 4, the length is 4, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. So that's the exception we get if we define more array values than the size. Let's look at array declaration creation and initialization in single line. How do we do that? So for example, int array A, then A is equal to new int of size 3, then A of 0 is equal to 1, 1, 1, then A of 1 is equal to 3, 2, then A of 2 is equal to 3, 3. So we do not need these many lines to declare an array. We can just simply declare int two-dimensional array A is equal to flower braces 11, comma 22, comma 33. So this way we declare an array, create an array, and initialize an array in single line. So where is the new keyword? So it's taken automatically. Likewise, where is the size? It is also taken automatically based on how many array elements are there. Another example, for example, character array and variable name or array name is vowels, and you can just say A, E, I, O, U. You just declare in a single line. So let's see some examples. For example, int A equal to 111, comma 222, comma 333. So now let's print system out print line A of 0. Similarly, system out print line A of 1. Similarly, system out print line A of 2. Let's try to run this example. We have 111, 222, 333. Let's look at another two-dimensional array this time. A equal to, say for example, 10, comma 20, comma 30, comma then 40, comma 50. This is a two-dimensional array. So let's try to draw the array first. So we have 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 0, 1. Then we have 0, 1, 2. We have 10, comma 20, comma 30. Then this is array A. And here we have 0, comma 1 with 40 and 50. So let's try to print A of 0, 0. Why is this? So A of 0 and 0 is 10. A of 0, 1 is 20. A of 0, 2 is 30. A of 1, 0 is 40. A of 1, 1 is 50. So this is going to be 10. Then A of 0, 1 is going to be 20. And A of 1, comma 1, 0 will be, we have to find A of 0, 2 will be 30. Then we have A of 1, 0 will be 40. Then we have A of 1 and 1, which is 50. Let's try to compile and execute. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This is how you can access two-dimensional array. Let's take another example, which is three-dimensional array. For example, int three-dimensional array A, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, then just close and so we have another 60, say for example, then we have 70, comma 80, then we have another array, which will be like 90, 100, 1, 1, 110. So this is a three-dimensional array, and we have to print A of 0, 0, 0. Let's try to draw this array so that we will have a better understanding. On the top level, we have 1 and 2 elements. So 0 and 1. Then inside that we have 1 and 2. So we have 0, 1. And then inside 0 we have 3 more. 0, 1, 2. And we have 10 here, 20 here, 30 here. And then here we have 2 more. 0 and 1, 40 here and 50 here. Then here we have 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2. And at 0, we have 1, which is 60. And at 1, we have 2. 0, 1, we have a 70, we have a 80. And at 2, we have 3 more elements. 0, 1, 2, we have a 90, 100, and a 110. So now we have to print A00, which is 10. And say, for example, if we want to print A11, what do we have here? A11, we have 50 or 50. Say, for example, if I want to print A102, A10, we only have 00, not 2. So this will create an arrays index out of bounds exception. Say, for example, if I have to print A100, A100 will print 60. Say, for example, if I want to print A120, A120, which will be 90. Say, for example, I want to print A121, then I'll have 100. Say, for example, if I want to print A122, then I'll have 110. Let's try to save this and compile. And execute. So, like I said, this third line is out of scope, or array index out of bounds exception. Let me comment that out to validate the rest of them. So I have got 10, 50, 60, 90, 100, and 110. I'll stop here and continue.